Now think with me here. Everything is going well. Judas in his role as disciple and treasurer, following Jesus and the miracles closely. But then, at some point, the guy starts keeping an eye on something else. Currency. Do you know when temptation hits and someone thinks they are making the biggest deal of the century? Well, that's what happened. Judas, for some reason that we will never fully understand, decides that 30 pieces of silver are worth friendship with Jesus. Seriously, 30 coins. You can't even buy a decent cell phone these days. So Judas goes there, looks for the religious leaders, and makes the agreement. They were dying to catch Jesus, and Judas was the missing key. Here comes the part that makes us question the creativity of betrayals. He agrees that he will hand over Jesus with a kiss. Yes, the guy chooses a symbol of friendship and affection to betray his own master. The time arrives, they are in the Garden of Gethsemane, and Judas goes there, kisses Jesus, and that's it, the betrayal is done. The most bizarre thing is that Judas thought he was going to get away with it. He probably imagined that Jesus would find a way, or that it wouldn't have that many consequences. But what he didn't foresee was the flood of guilt that would descend on him afterwards. But before continuing, I need to ask you, are you enjoying it? Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos and leave a like. Here comes the big plot twist of the story. Judas, after betraying Jesus with that betrayal kiss, even thinks he will continue his good life. But the penny drops, and he realizes the size of the mistake he made. It's as if he had exchanged his friend for a coffee and cheese bread and only later realized that the price was much higher than he imagined. Guilt begins to take its toll, and Judas tries to make things right, but it was too late. Imagine the guy's desperation. He rushes to return the 30 coins to the people who had paid for the betrayal, but the religious leaders don't care. They basically say, "Your problem, friend. We didn't ask for anything." And then Judas finds himself alone, with the betrayal money in his hands and without Jesus, because he knows that it led his master to death. There was no going back. Desperate and not knowing what to do with this gigantic guilt, Judas makes a radical decision. He hangs himself, thinking this was the only way to escape the weight of what he did. And so his story ends, not as a villain full of money and power, but as a repentant traitor who didn't know how to deal with the price of his choices. Because, in the end, 30 coins didn't buy the peace he thought he would have. So in the end, the story of Judas is like the classic story of someone who had everything going for them, but made the worst decision possible. The guy was in the middle of one of the biggest events in history, walking side by side with Jesus, witnessing miracles and chilling teachings. But then, for 30 measly coins, he decides to betray his own master with a kiss, which is basically the equivalent of giving that fake smile while stabbing him in the back. Then there was that colossal repentance, because Judas realized that it was not just a basic betrayal, but something that led Jesus to death. He tried to return the coins, but the damage was already done. In despair, seeing no way out, Judas ended up taking his own life, and his story was marked forever. A heavy lesson about how the choices we make, especially when they involve money and friendship, can cost much more than we imagine. After all, you can't put a price on loyalty, right? So that's today's video. I hope you liked it. See you in the next story.